Hello and welcome. Tuesday noon on my time, Tuesday evening for Marianne's time. And let's have a conversation with the earth. In contemplating today's, we decided to look at the fact is the earth from your perspective a rock in space floating around, or is the earth a conscious being? I know in the 80s there was a movement that started in Britain looking more at the earth being a conscious being. And I also am aware that that totally disappeared into nothingness. And so I am actually wondering, what is the earth for you? Marianne, what do you say?
What can I say, Corinna? For sure, for a long, long, long period, the Earth was an object,
Mm-hmm.
an object in the universe. And it's more lately, the last few months, perhaps COVID contributed a lot to become more conscious of this. It's like, yeah, Earth is so much more than an object. It isn't an object at all. It
Mm-hmm.
is vivid as I am vivid, as you are vivid, as we all are. It's, yeah, we can't name it as it's something out of blood and
Yeah.
tears, but it exists of the same materials we are existing out, or
That is true, yeah.
and it is for a short time really that I became aware that I allowed myself, because it
Or,
it had to see also to allowing. And I named COVID by becoming more conscious, or getting another aspect of the earth, coming out of that vision of only the earth is only a rock or an object in
mhm.
the universe, is what the earth started to show us, nature started to show us when the deadly virus came in. That contrast really called and waked up something inside of me to go and have another look, to
Yeah.
go and being present in another way, and a whole world opened. So yeah, I'm curious. What's for you? What is it for you?
I would say for me, it's similar as it was for you for so many years. Um, the earth was an object. And that has changed probably 2, 3 years ago for me, that I looked at the earth having consciousness, and it became really, really obvious during when COVID started and how quickly things changed for the earth with air pollution, for instance, and people not traveling as much, flying less. And as a sudden, within a short period of time, the air pollution cleared up. And then it was actually also the water pollution, like seeing in people that I am in same groups and that posted pictures from Venice with canals as a sudden being clear, that you could actually see the bottom. And yeah, some pictures may have been misidentified, but what was a consistent one was the water had become clear. And how does that happen? Sort of overnight.
Mm.
The earth has to have some play in that. And it's also, I started to ask questions is okay, Earth, in California with all the wildfires going on, what is going on for you there? Because were some images that had been posted on Facebook that for me were not natural lightning. And so, how much are we trying to manipulate weather? And I
Mm.
know that this is going on. I'm not foolish enough that I think people are not trying in one way or another to play God, which is, you wish scientists would have learned when they had the first atomic bomb explosion that maybe we keep our hands off of certain things, but the the curiosity and the power that is
Mm.
implicit in being able to do things are just too tempting. And that is even going
Yes.
on today, that there are experiments done and planned that play into that same power game that the atomic bomb did. And so, how is the Earth going to respond to that?
And you named these manipulations, and
Mm-hmm.
I can remember me years ago already, it was mentioned by someone. And at that time, I heard it and I didn't hear it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I heard it and it took my attention, but within less than a second, it was pulled back like that's not possible.
That could be,
That can't be true.
yeah,
Like, and how many times do we that we are conscious of something, that we are aware of something, but because it looks so insane, so unnatural, that we think that it doesn't exist and we go into our stupidity at that time instead of going really with yeah, what if we would choose, even for those things who look so far away of us because it's not of our interest, but
yeah,
what if we would go with that awareness? And because, in a way, it is also judging that I did at that time, judging that something like that wasn't possible, judged from my point of view and my
mhm.
world where it doesn't exist. So when it's not existing in my world, it doesn't exist.
And how
Uh-huh.
true is that overall?
Yeah,
Not just in
that's
our individual worlds, but for everybody else,
yes,
you
yes,
know?
yes. And we see it really clear in the latest months
Mm-hmm.
is how many stupidity is even increasing from that
Yeah.
space of that's not possible because I can't see and I won't allow myself to see any further than
The
my
tip of-
nose. So
Yeah.
when it isn't here in front of me, even though it is in front of them, as I can remember, I think you saw also the film with David Attenborough. No, Attenborough doesn't call
Edinburgh.
the alive on Earth, and he shows there he went to visit the place, the Hiroshima, where there was that explosion, and
Chernobyl.
everyone was evacuated. But now, so many years later, nature also showed there
Mhm.
nothing can kill me. I have my own consciousness. Nothing
And I have my own
is,
ways. Yeah, I remember
yeah,
Chernobyl pretty well because I was being in Germany, and that whole radioactive cloud had moved west, and
yeah,
oh God, how is it going to damage my son, etc. But what you really, when you were talking, what that brought up in me is how much is it because I cannot imagine, according to my points of view, that something is possible.
yeah,
How much am I really going at things from a totally different angle? Like here in Colorado, we have fires, and there's friends that have become eventually affected by those fires. And what if Earth is a conscious being? What if I talk to the Earth? Would it be possible for you to not affect their property? And yes, I'll admit I don't have a point of view, and it's probably easier because they are not like my kids or something. It's easier to stay neutral in a sense, but with that no point of view, to just ask the earth, is it possible? Can you make that happen? And if it works for the earth, I know the earth can make it happen.
yeah, it is. And I hear you also. It's more ease to stay neutral when it doesn't involve your own family.
Yeah.
And at the same time, Corinna, as I can speak for me, there is really the
We
willingness
are
also
having,
for.
we're
Did
having
we cut
internet
out?
problems today.
Yeah, but we are on.
Well, as
So,
long as we stay on and don't get totally kicked off, we'll work with it.
for that, and where I was going to was for sure. I know for myself that I have really. I became clear of that. I have the willingness to allow also when it would happen with one of my children and they are affected by having the willingness to be in allowance also of their choice. What did they create? When I ask and
Mm.
talk to Earth, it's not up unto me. It's not because I request the Earth that the Earth really has to give me what I'm requesting. And from that point of view, as no point of view as I'm requesting, when it would happen with one of mine's, I know now that I will have the willingness to be in allowance
Hmm.
also from for what will happen or in which way they will be affected. And perhaps that can sound cool, cold. I I really don't matter about how other people think about this way of saying it, or perhaps it's more like, what is your experience about acting from awareness that other people aren't willing
Yeah.
to go to, and then judged over that without knowing what they are judging from the start.
It's a totally different way of being. And it's that understanding that in this reality, we have certain definitions, actions of what caring is all about, which not necessarily are true. And if I look at the earth as a conscious being, then let me backtrack for a moment. You're a conscious being, I'm a conscious being. Just because I'm asking you to give me something doesn't mean that you have to give it to me. You have choice if you desire to or not. And in the same way, when I'm asking the earth to, spare a house, maybe, it's the earth who has choice to do so or not, depending on what is working for the earth. And by
That's
and large,
Corinna.
I know the earth has our back. The
Yeah.
earth is supporting us. So,
And that, Corinna, is what you are saying. What's working for the earth, but what's working for the earth comes also from the consciousness and the awareness the earth has.
that and how aware and conscious am I willing to be to even just
Also,
recognize that the earth has consciousness.
yeah.
And if I'm here and if I'm willing to contribute to the earth, am I basically saying or having the point of view, earth, I'm contributing to you, you better, da 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 da, and but that has nothing to do with true contribution. That is basically
I'm laughing because there is something coming up really visual, nearly like we call the earth our mother. And what came up was, what if we would ask if really the earth wasn't your mother, but you are the mother of your child? The earth is your child. Would that change the way people would act on? And that brought immediately, would it? Because how many parents do parenting from the same superiority, from the other type of
yeah.
caring that it isn't? So that's why I was laughing. It was, yeah, it could be interesting to see what could happen. But truth, would it really change something?
It could.
It
And
could.
I fully hear you. It's just because we really, I don't want to say that, but not many of us have a real understanding of what gifting and receiving is. And are we even willing to receive the gift that the earth has for us? And to stay with the with the fire, if the property doesn't burn down, are we willing to see it as a gift that the earth is giving us, or are we checking it off as being lucky?
Or in case of the request, being really powerful, but
Yep,
only by yourself.
yep. And not getting that fact of true collaboration. And what would be possible if most of the people would start to get that fact?
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, it became clear also that watching many documentaries, nature, about the animals, up till a few months ago, I was watching and being touched by, and still, as that kind of separation, as that
Mhm.
kind of, yeah, those are things happen and it's life, but not from the oneness, not from the cooperation, not from being.
Or listening to that, what just popped for me is I would like to invite people to watch on Netflix the movie My Octopus Teacher and be prepared to really get things from a totally different perspective because the filmmaker is really stepping into who he is and allowing the octopus to be a conscious being that
Yeah,
makes its own choices. And there is one scene that is just melting my heart, and I'm not gonna name it because I don't want to spoil the
no,
experience of the movie. But it is such a totally different way of being with another animal, of being in the world, being part of the world, that really speaks extremely loudly to the fact of having that relationship with the earth, that contributory relationship. And to know that certain things just have their place, even if as humans we judge them. What if we step out of the judgment and allow nature, the earth, to have its own rhythm and way of being?
yeah. And for me, Corinna, for me, it's clear that being and being in oneness, cooperating, is no place for judgment. There is
Mhm.
no place. The moment, how big, how little, how positive or how negative, which doesn't exist finally, but when there is some kind of judgment, there is separation. There is separation. It's not possible to, and that also the film you mentioned, the octopus, my teacher, that was also some really palpable
Mhm.
in during that film, and the transformation
Yeah,
the creator goes through is, yeah, magic.
yeah.
It's magical. And isn't it curious also that lately those kind types of documentaries are now really coming to the front as is, yeah, it is time. It is time to let go of judgment, because there will no normal as we know the normal
Yeah.
from before. All those who are still fighting for that normal, where are they? Where are they?
And even if they are there, that normal was only declared normal, but wasn't actually normal.
And isn't it that that normal caused what's happening now?
Yep. Yep.
So
We could say that.
yeah, I mentioned it in a conversation I had a few days ago, and I said it really, but do you really want to go back? Yeah, yeah, normal like that and that and that, and that's really interesting because from my point of view, is all that normal created what happens now, and I'm not referring the the virus, but all what's around it and
Yeah.
how they go with it and the way they use it also to go even more in superiority. And that was that was vivid in the background. And during that normal we lived, we didn't go and have a look in the background, even though we knew it was there. But people were deaf and blind. And now they want to go back to that normal. It's very interesting. And are we out again? I'm not sure. Hi, Corinna. Are you alive? And we are out again. Or not. I'm not sure. I can see we are live, still live, but it's Corinna that is in charge of it. So I'm not sure. We are still going. So, is there something more that I want to say about that normal when waiting for Corinna to come back? Yeah, let me go on. It's like that normal became clear for me that I also was taking the normal for normal, and when it didn't affect me directly, as in restricting the way I created my life, then it was all normal. But that normal isn't any longer. And now I can see also clear that that normal wasn't also me. I still was living from, even though I lived already different and in a different way and different point of views, creating in a different way, but still from a small box, the box of this reality, where I still went with the judgments, the definitions, and still am, because, yeah, there is a lot changed in the last months, the last 2, 3 years, but more profound in the last months and even weeks. But really conscious about that, I'm truly still living from judgments. And Corinna says she dropped off. So, yeah, let us wrap it up here, and we will meet again next week. And how does it get any better than this? So for now, bye bye, and sorry, next time will be better, different. Bye bye.